that to really use their rotation to its full potential. So I think Orangutan, they're going to be feeling very comfortable now going into every single one of these Erangel matches.
Yeah, well, one thing's for sure when it comes to OG, right, is that we know that they're so solid when it comes to rotation. One thing they struggled with, though, right, is being able to flick on that aggression switch. And we heard from Balak, their mindset is pure aggression. We've been seeing that nothing from these squads. Let's go into one more match at Erangel with Blank and John Allen.
It's time for another Erangel edition as we head on in from Stalba down to Sosnovka Military Island on the plane path. Blank, things are keeping temperature hot here. That final close down from 9Z took it all away from Alter Ego, who did show a little bit too much boldness on their peaks.
That they did. I think, again, it's one of those things where you look at it and I think Alter Ego up until that point looked pretty good. But closing games out is a completely separate skill set to the prep that goes into getting towards that end game. I was very, very impressed with Alter Ego up until that point as well, which is why it was quite disappointing for me, honestly, to see them fumble that end game the way they did. But again, you can only really be happy for 9Z that were able to basically snatch away the win in those final moments.
It's a nice little turn up for the table, certainly, for 9Z. See if they can keep it on going. Are we going to get a hot drop? No, okay. Gen G not going to go down towards C block. It looks like it's just going to be APG down on military. Maybe up in Severny could be some argy-bargy as Team Secret and GS a little bit close to each other. Maybe a vehicle contest going on there. Have to wait and see. Looks like everybody else is fairly well extricated for the time being anyway, because we're going back to Gatka on the circles.
Back over to the fields. I don't think really anyone enjoys this. But I think the bigger issue here is the eastern plane path off the back of this one. Does cause quite a few issues in terms of the rotates off towards that western side, because typically with a field finish like this, there's not a massive amount of critical compounds that can be taken. So if you're starting on the east side of the map anyway, anyone who gets fairly center at the start of this game is going to have a big advantage. So we're looking at Gen G, we're looking at Falcons, even potentially APG here starting in melee base. They can get out quickly, but again, this is going to require APG to be a little bit quicker on the ball of leaving from Sosnovka, and they should understand to do that. I hope they'd understand to do that with an eastern plane path. Like, they have a big advantage here to get towards a more prominent position of inside the circle. I think maybe they're slightly worried about a bridge camp, but again, I think Gen G, Go, they're more preoccupied with also taking position within the center of this map.
Getting on into the middle. I mean, it worked out quite well. Nobody went to that compound on the north side, so maybe someone will take it up this time. Still, teams very much in the looting phase as we go into our 4th minute, just about ticking over into, there we go, 3 minutes and 2 seconds. And yeah, nobody really making big moves right now. Not too much trouble up on the north side. It looks like, yeah, Team Secret just went off to North George. They didn't stick around near Severny. They grabbed the vehicles and headed away. Actually, likely to transition to South George here. And why not? You've got the circle access a little bit more secure, and you won't have to go for that bridge crossing after teams have already moved into that north side area.
For OG, much more comfortable starts to their game as well, John, purely because Red and Kai is no longer being a thorn in their side around Rozhok. They can completely surround this area now, which is very, very nice for them going forward. They should be able to get a decent rotate from the top side of Rozhok down. Like I say, for Team Secret, just instantly sending off there towards Georgiapol. There's a lot of good rotation you can make from that position around Everest, which covers you off from quite a few sight lines. Inner circle, though, they are definitely not towards the inner circle, starting on a Kameshki split. I think a lot of people are starting to favor Kameshki split a lot more of around Stalber as well. It does give you like a lot of decent paths over towards the north side and the east side of the map. On this kind of circle, it's a bit more difficult. Not that really stopped them last game, though, to be honest. With Falak able to almost do the impossible versus Luke.
Yeah, that was... I mean, that was pretty crazy stuff. I mean, talking about that Kameshki split, though, I do think that it's It is very flexible, and that is its main asset, right? And it's no worse maybe than playing in Yasnaya on that front, but does give you more access to the north side. So generally a net positive. I think you're right in that assessment. Maybe becoming a little bit more fashionable as we've got a little overview there. Coming on down. They're playing it slow. They just want some more loot from these buildings. Done a little stop off and grab some more supplies along the way. There's no rush, not at the moment. They know they're going to be at the back of the queue kind of anyway, so it's not ideal to overcommit to going fast when you know that it's really not going to pay off. It's very unlikely that teams are moving ahead of you anyway.
Yeah, it's interesting as well because let me just talk about the Kameshki split a little bit more. Is that like Lipovka split where you play maybe 2 in Lipovka and then send a couple out towards Mansion? That's much more punishable as well. Whereas Kameshki, there's not really many teams that are going to punish you over towards that position of the map. There's a lot easier positions, you know, from Milta, Western Shelter, even Yasnaya to make a split off from the rescue team to try and catch out 1 or 2 players playing around Mansion or Heaven, trying to watch and guard out from Lipovka. Yeah, that doesn't really happen in Kameshki. So that's something that Alter Ego probably have to watch out for a little bit more. Most teams have started to make their way over towards the west now, though. Wolves getting in nice and early. I think Wolves realize that they need to get a bit of a move on right now. Currently in 3 points in 13th. Very, very unideal, especially for a team that started in the gauntlet. This doesn't look promising. Still only 2 matches. There is still time. But when you've got teams like 9Z as well as IC currently on almost 40 points apiece after 2 matches, you know, those top 3 spots are starting to look pretty unattainable.
Yeah, it's not super friendly right now, but you know, it's still very much early days. We are only in to match number 3, Blank. We've only seen 2 games go under the belt, and a lot of those points for Inner Circle specifically were earned in 1 match. The same is true for 9Z as well. It is just sort of 1 big match, top of the tables right now. Teams, for a lot of them. We'll see who can keep up the pace. OG, they move in. They're making their rotate near Falcons, near D+, but both of those teams are on outposts. They're on 2-2 splits or don't have a full lineup to go for it immediately, and they're not taking shots out that way just yet either.
No reason to right now. You're kind of waiting for zone 2 anyway. Especially only 1 minute left on the next shift. I think for a lot of teams at this point in time, not advisable to be looking for engagements. Kind of waiting for that big migrate on zone 2, and then you can start looking for fights to try and break position on the map. APG though, they kind of did what I said. They took a slightly longer, but didn't really matter all that much. They're already towards a pretty fantastic spot on the map right now. I think Doc does have an eye in over towards OG currently, and I think
they're taking shots.
The side.
They're looking to try and suppress that position. They're taking shots over towards the reject. We're taking shots over towards OG as well. And they did have to stop off. They're poking their noses towards that APG Southside compound, though. So maybe looking to cause trouble.
Get a good view of the map here. See what's next on the cards for us. Alter Ego a little bit slower to this one, but they can divert quite easily over towards Pattaya Hill and then towards the northwest. Around Everest, though, we're pretty much going towards a similar location. For APG, it's somewhat unfortunate for their early central start. They have a fair way to move. GS, though, quite happy the way this one plays out.
Yeah, they'll be able to move into that north side. The major feature, the major point of interest that is in this circle that really wasn't in the last one is Ruins. That Ruins area to the east of Everest is going to be, I'm sure, where GS are going to at least look to try and go. Some of the buildings around that area, teams are going to try and filter through. 9Z as well. Maybe they'll be able to get on over there because they're going for their classic. Let's just go over the top and see what we can find their position. This south edge, though, across the fields, is going to get brutal. And Gen G eat first blood, and it's claws to go down.
Yeah, the wide wrap Kings in 9Z, it's been working out all right, to be honest. GS, though, like you said, did stop off over towards Castle and Ruins. Decent spots to play in going forward. Again, leaving Ruins is a little bit awkward, so I actually quite like OG's position, which is just east of Everest there, picking up the compounds in that area. I think you might have teams wanting to try and challenge for that spot at some point, but for the time being, I think most players are quite comfortable in their current positions. This is going to be a little bit more of a slow game. Also, OG flexing out towards top of Everest, trying to get some high ground control as well. Okay.
All right. You want to get an oversight? Fair enough. I mean, Everest, big feature in this zone. Alter Ego were playing towards it before, not fully on the top of it towards the end there, but it's a little bit more central this time around, and maybe will play well. Loops on the road. Alter Ego sending in towards some of those ruins positions too. But they've already lost Alva. That's a flush from Falak.
Yeah, well played. I mean, he's flexed out from the rest of the squad. Just finds a quick pick off and will pick up the flush off the back of it as well. The guy is insane. Actually insane. Yeah, I think a lot of people understand why I usually say that Falak's probably one of my top 3 favorite players of all time. I think he was someone who really impressed me on his off-angle plays in the past and was one of the best to do it. And now again, showing off just how strong he can be here in the biggest international tournament of the year.
And what a time to do it as well. Looking really, really hot. Finger on the trigger, ready to go at a moment's notice, drop of a hat. Reject, they're moving up on the west side, currently skirting around the west of Hospital. Currently Goat occupy that area, but they are going to divert further north than Goat's position and maybe challenge towards Everest here. I mean, this is very similar circle the last time around. The difference here, though, Blank, is that Wolves are in the compound that nobody went into last time around. You said they needed to move a little bit earlier. Maybe that's what they were looking for. An APG in their compound that ended up being a pretty convincingly winning compound in the last one. They'll take up occupation there.
I like that for Wolves. You know, they spectate the game. They're like, what could we do differently? Pick the open compound, perhaps. And so they're close to it now, so they just go for it. Understanding that it seems to not really be in the progress of a lot of other teams' routes in towards the circle there. So for Wolves, I don't mind it. I don't mind it. It is slightly on the western side, quite close to the edge of the circle, which is a bit worrisome. But it's playable. It's definitely playable towards the end game. Goat's finding Patino from Loops. Yeah, getting the same circle again is a weird one, right, John? Where you kind of make some adjustments to your last game, maybe patch up some holes in your playstyle.
I mean, it is absolutely, and given that teams were sort of all in very similar drop spots as well, it's got to play out maybe fairly similarly. But Falak's down, and that is bad news for Inner Circle fans. Looks like they are going to rally the troops, though, and it's just Krypton close by. Could potentially be more trouble around the corner, but at the moment, T24 just drawing attention. Yeah, they're going to be able to get this res. Rosemary moving into position, though. There's an off angle. He looks for it, and Snape gets the spray down as well. 2 players from Alter Ego able to line up the shots, and now Inner Circle have lost another player. This is a good little pickup for Alter Ego, working the ground around them.
I mean, they had a little bit of damage done to them earlier, but it's Wolves in a 4v4 with them and Reject, and it is going swimmingly well as Reject will hit the deck. Wolves retain all 4 players up, and that is a convincing finish there for them. In the meantime, Inner Circle are just getting battered and bruised by Alter Ego. Not happy with them taking down one of their players earlier in Alva.
No, they will do a hell of a lot more in response. T24 did manage to get away for Inner Circle, so Solo on the north side playing on. Wolves held the compound against Reject. We saw that push coming through. That crash from Reject did not go their way. And what that meant is that Goat could not third party. OG couldn't extract elimination points. Both of those 2 teams playing up towards Everest, which is really good news for the Wolves. It means that it's much less likely that they're going to get third partied on an approach here now.
Yeah, exactly. And that is a big thing when it comes to big crashes, because We saw it even on that first game of the day, is where Papa Supermassive just could not hold on the north side of Rondo because they dealt with the first 2 crashes. But if teams keep coming, then eventually things is going to start to get rough. Big shift over towards the north side. Keeps Everest in. Damn, goodness me. But APG get a central circle and prank no more. Dark with a lovely nade over towards T24. And that will sit APG at 2 eliminations. And they are looking to secure a position in that top 3 at the end of this game.
I mean, it's like the exact same circle. It's insane. We go to exactly the same place, exactly the same finishes. Maybe a couple more teams on that north side and that lining that Everest side as well, which was, as you were talking about before, a bit of a major feature of that last game, right? That glut of teams moving in on the northeast, playing that area. That's a little bit more spread out here. So that's probably going to be the pace difference in this match. We'll see what can get done. OG still lining the top of Everest with Papa Supermassive trying to move in, but with APG down beneath them, taking shots, and with OG up the top, you don't imagine that's going to be super successful.
Stave just stood on top of Chips' position. Yeah, so that we'll find him. Let's get down off there. What are you doing? Sit on the rooftops. Then he goes in, won't find any damage. But for Alter Ego, it looks like it's starting to come to a little bit of a close here for them. I think it's tough rotates from here on out. For APG, though, they are just fully committed to the 4-man hold.
Ooh, the nade. It's just Krypton now, I believe, left for Alter Ego. As he keeps it on going, though, wants to get stuck into the fight. No boot. Around the corner, does go down. Chips has an off angle. There's someone across the way, but Krypton finds the inside of the building. A little shack, but the Molotov burns the door away. A mad dash across, and Krypton's just juking him out right now. Osal hopping in with the auto shotty. The healing's there. He's looking for Snake, but no! He's beneath the boxes. A spin around. He got the heal off as well, but it's just Chips now on the inside. D+ have a nightmare sent their way, and GS can close them down here and now.
I mean, that predict on the Molotov was something serene in that moment. Love to see it. The fact that he's able to jump out there in time and then quickly get in cover and get the first aid off. I don't think D+ Kira is expecting that kind of resilience from a solo. GS now looking to finish off the players from D+ as they get out, but they've also got other concern, which is getting into the circle itself. 9Z moving over towards where APG were playing, hoping to take control back again of a position they held before.
APG's nades. Fending off against Team Secret and 9Z. Ooh, this is nasty stuff. Only 2 players alive for 9Z. Nade just a bit long there from top. Onto the 2 from 9Z. Won't quite be able to find it. Team Secret, I feel like their position is going to get weaker and weaker as fights around them conclude. They need to start pushing in and start gaining ground inside this building.
There's a slight waste of grenades there coming through from APG. I think the first couple were fine, you know, just on the off chance you're able to hit something. What is Bomb doing on Tiamba? Yeah, I mean, sure. I don't know why you thought it was a solo. That'd be a great place to try and live out the rest of the game. Is that one of the most contested areas of the map?
Hey, look, Aking's going to give it a go as well. In the meantime, though, Wolves flex out of their compound. They push up Everest. They crunch Goat in between them and OG. A lot of damage inflicted by Coops towards Goat, and it is going to leave Goat down now on 2 players. The job is done. Wolves regroup back down to the south. They know that with the circle shifting up north, their compound is going to be a prime target for taking for teams on the south side. I'm looking at Falcons.
For OG, it's just major oversight over towards the rest of the map right now. They've got a incredible Overwatch. This is a time for a team like OG to start picking up some big points off the back of this one. I think I like this flex out over towards the eastern side. Leaving WizGod behind to fend off the 2 players from Goat is a good idea. Not likely Goat's going to push, and these players on the east can start to take shots over towards GS or even the Falcons as they attempt to come on in.
Ooh, Ratto Boy wants to try and find the spray. Gen.G will look at a regroup. Ratto Boy wants to try and find the spray. Gen G will look at a regroup, but they had to give one up. I think that's Tiamba out. Yes, it is. They will go down in 12th. No, Raptor Boy tries to shut the door behind him. Nice and polite, but that's not going to get you anywhere. Falcons and GS, though, are clashing heavily on this hilltop. At the moment, it's going both ways and taking knocks, and Falcons finally finding an advantage, but in rolls SO. He's down from across the way. It's a tanky taking the shot. The Falcons still alive, only just, but the blue zone's here, and Redox desperately trying to heal it, and he can't get it done. The bandage is not fast enough. And that is two teams isolated with one spray down from a tanky.
Yeah, I mean, the easy stuff. And this is exactly what I was talking about, is that flex out towards the eastern side. It's the obvious choice, and it's well done. That clears a massive amount of space. Finally, Top is able to hit a disgusting grenade, so maybe not a waste after all. Just needed to find the right angle on it. Genji, your arms aren't that strong. I'm gonna be real with you. This is some unreasonably long lobbing distance.
Very ambitious. I like the spirit, you know? Unfortunately, that's not what counts. It's if you actually get the nade on in. That's what you're looking for. I mean, Team Secret, they believe them, though. That's the thing.
They really do. They're like, oh, it's a bit scary.
Wait,
maybe we could send one back.
Ooh,
There's some okay nades. Good chip damage as well.
Molotov just goes a little bit long. They're not quite sinking them down.
Oh, it
into the
corrals
drain.
them though.
It does do that. Yeah, you're right. And actually forces one of them out. That will be a nade range of Gen G. Maybe now they should have had the nades. Unfortunately, not to be. The nades keep sinking in, but the heals coming through to keep them safe. There's shots. Who's that coming from? That's Wolves. Doran able to shut down Zyol, and they have to back it off. Seems like this compound makes teams think that they can peak when they shouldn't. Doc, learning from that last match, moves out to where we saw Rosemary flex out to last time.
Yeah, I mean, in that spot as well, your biggest issue is the fact that to get the air burst on where Team Secret's playing, you have to push far enough out to lob the grenade down. The only way you can do that was with a smoke, but then you're throwing the nade blind, so you have to kind of hope for it. And if you don't use the smoke, then Wolves have that angle from the western side. So Team Secret actually is really quite safe right now, honestly. It's difficult for APG to remove them, and now because they're closer towards the center, APG has a big problem on their hands.
WizGod is peeked over the ridgeline and immediately is humbled on the peak. Doesn't go down though, which could be crucial. Go on a mad crash. Let's see if they can cling on, if the hooves have got enough grip to make it to somewhere, to anywhere that they can find. They've got to some trees, they've got to a rock or two. Maybe they'll stay alive for just a moment longer. This fight in the compound just doesn't seem to want to conclude. OG
Nice.
to fully isolate. That's the nade they were looking for. That is what they wanted to find, and the first knock is finally going to come through.
Nice.
A second, a third as well. That's the off angle coming in, and it will be devastating for them. A fourth nade, maybe they'll find it. Reefus does go down in the meantime. Doc should be on picking that one up. That nade's going to go wide. Just the one player now left standing, and Zyol spots him. The off angles do too. The Wolves are going to have a say.
I mean, a tanky's picking up points from the back of this as well over towards Team Secret. Again, it's not an easy nade to throw for Zyol. It really does quite take some precision. Doc makes that one look pretty easy though, but again, it's Doc. It's Doc, so we have to bow down and accept that. But for APG, 11 points on the game right now. This is way better from them, and you start to wonder if it's a case it was nerves going into the gauntlet there, where they were playing against some of the best teams in the world. I think that APG plays a lot better when they think that they're the big dogs in the lobby, which they certainly are here.
Seems so with the current situation. Coops moving up really high up the mountain, getting that off angle, using the time available to him without that blue zone on the pressure. And yeah, WizGod, he's done and dusted, will be flushed out now. Wolves playing from that western side. They've been a little bit quieter than the other teams, but they moved into their position early. You liked it, Blank. It seems like they felt it too. Coops using this high ground to the best of his advantage whilst he still can, but needs to start to evacuate now. With the blue zone pushing through, that is going to be further down the hill for them to sink, and it's going to leave APG and Wolves, the only 4-player team, Aqua Solos, and then OG on the 3-player Miracle Run.
For OG, they're already splitting though quite early. They do have the anchor in AKOP down the hillside. Chips is attempting to get as many points as possible off the back of this one. But for D+, it has been a little bit odd watching them, right? The aggression isn't there. They feel fairly weak in these team fights, which is so strange compared to the performance we've seen from them in the past. So yeah, I think D+ needs to find their footing once again, because at the moment this just isn't going to cut it.
North shift on the circle. I mean, this is OG with the majority of the land mass in this one. APG gonna have to maybe D+ make it to third, you know, on this solo position with Chips.
I mean, this is kind of, in my mind, this is a big question for OG now, because on probably the 5th time the circle has shifted towards them this game, and they have decent positioning in it. We've seen these types of circle shifts before for OG. I think it's closing back. Still the thing that they are struggling to do here.
Oh, you can't let that happen as well. The solo position coming through from D+. That's going to split and really diminish this power, this position for OG. Aru kind of isolated up the top there. Needs to hop in the vehicle, drop a smoke, get some acceleration. Go from there. You got to get into nade range of everything else. APG flexing out. Look at top move. He's going around the edge, and it's going to be all up to AKOP down on the low ground to stay alive for them.
Nice shot from Chips. Immediate response over towards top. I think there was a little bit of assistance coming through on the sidelines there.
No way.
And that's the... Again, they know that Chips is here.
That's crazy. That's crazy that Chips has been able to do that.
Yeah.
He's been allowed so much freedom on this north side, taking down top as well on the approach. I mean, that slowed APG. The solo position now behind a tree is completely known. He's trying to drop these smokes and get a little bit safer. I don't think such a place exists.
Yeah. For APG, I think this is a win. It should be a win, right? For Wolves, if they're able to take the fight to APG, though, that is a massive thing for them. For Wolves, it will certainly put some confidence back in them, which I think they're absolutely lacking at the moment. I think that there's a lot of times where Wolves are even second-guessing their own decisions that they make in these games, where two players will have a very different plan from one another. But this game feels a lot better in terms of that so far. I do think that the success they found from that mid game has really helped them, but Doc already finding that angle over towards Igor is pretty bad news. 12 elims so far for APG, and nade down the hillside to confirm this knock over towards Chips. He just about jumps out the way. Doc?
It's the buggy reposition.
Hello?
The nade is long. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Oh dear. Doc moves out as well. Chips finally goes down. It's Batten to be able to find that. So that is solidified. Doc is still alive. APG gonna have to move forwards a little bit with their off angles. This is a straight up 3v4 between these two teams now, as they were able to find one of the Wolves earlier.
Yeah, I mean, Doc just ran him over, by the way.
Yeah. Crack on, lad.
That's stylish. A little reverse from
into group green.
Yeah, I mean, if you're an APG fan, you're probably like both not surprised and quite annoyed, right? You're not surprised that APG is suddenly doing really well, and you're both kind of annoyed that they didn't play like this during the gauntlet stage. Again, it is one of those moments though where that interview with Seven was actually very telling, where Doc admits a mistake, and I do think that this team almost required humbling within the gauntlet. For them, it was more like the Forge. They were getting slammed by the hammer, and now they look sharper than ever coming into these group stages.
It is very, very nice stuff to see APG able to go the full distance there. It looked like Wolves had a pretty good game there too. Blank, their position on the western side of that circle, they held those compounds nicely, and they were able to transition fairly successfully. I think that OG maybe let it slip during that game as well. They didn't have the control from Everest that they wanted. They weren't able to inflict the damage that they needed.
Yeah, for Wolves, there's definitely that situation where you look at them and you can tell that there's still some floundering happening in those final game moments, whereas APG immediately had their plan and they stuck to it. So it's tough. I'd like to see what Max had to say about that APG win though, because he's probably quite happy about it.
We have the same circle as match number 2, and guess what? The same level of hype. This was a close one. Once again, we get Alpha Gaming going against Wolves in a 4v3, and I mean, at this point, Alpha Gaming were just unstoppable, Max.
The APG win is real!
Yeah!
It exists! Sorry, I had to pop off at one point because finally the APG prank is over, Hot Jukes. It happened! The gauntlet is done.
Way too long.
They're in group
Way
3.
too long.
Yeah, and it's called the Group of Death because they are in the lobby. They're top here with a P90, able to put the nail in the coffin of Wolves. Really, really happy with the execution of this game. And I'm really happy to see the rotations later on of this game for APG Niptro because they saw that compound, they saw the circles like, samesies? We take good compound. Yeah. This time it's ours.
Yeah, it was really, really nice. I loved seeing different teams do the same things as other teams in match 2. Like OG, for instance, did the same sort of strat as AE. So that was really nice to see it go, oh, same circle. Let's do what we didn't, let's not do what we did last time and do what they did this time. And it was really, it worked a lot better. OG able to put up a really good fight there. But yeah, APG coming through. It was nice to see that they still got it. They still got it. Even, I mean, so many people were like, oh, nah, this is it, bro. This is it, right? And they came back and like, no, we know exactly what we're doing. We're still as good, and we're gonna show y'all. Dude,
I'll tell you what, man. Maybe these guys just wanted a little piece of that group stage money. I don't know what it was, but Doc taking responsibility, and oh man, is it working now. Look at that, 967 damage, 5 eliminations. They take the most dominant compound in that circle. Max, man, I called it the second we saw that zone. I was like, that's the compound. That's going to be the team that wins, and what do you know it? APG take it, and it works for them.
Some people call that compound the Hot Jukes compound. There's history of Hot Jukes in that position, but know that they take it very early on, and especially the nades, Niptro, we saw them throw onto Team Secret. They were playing the Ridge, were just so well executed from Zyol and Doc in particular. Very happy with it as you go through the replays, but damn, yeah, APG here, again, copying the early straps from some teams in the previous game, and here execute it to almost perfection. It was really, really good game from them.
Yeah, I loved what we saw from them coming in there. It was exactly what we wanted to see from Alter Ego in the last game, and they were able to just capitalize on that and actually make it work for them. Yeah, even better. Some awesome, crazy shots coming in through here, though. Like, all these headshots, long distance is insane. Krypton was insane. You can see, because he almost had it.
Watch those hands.
It's so true, right? So true.
Oh,
but some really, really cool shots.
Yeah, beautiful shots indeed right there. Those nades, by the way, you know, we were talking about them earlier, right? From APG on the TS. I mean, they didn't waste any time, right? They were going to make sure that they took that team out there at the bottom of the hill, and that worked out for them. One thing I do want to mention, though, right, was how dominant this OG position was on the hill. But they were just so split and got picked apart one by one. Max, man, what do you think about that?
Look, I'm going to tell you the one thing that annoys me with Orangutan that I've mentioned it also during the Gauntlet stage. They are so good at taking positions like this. Like, they learned from the previous game, right? Hot Jukes, they're like, wait, that was a really good position. The circle's the same. We're going to take it away from Alter Ego. And when they're in full control, they just decide to go for these splits, and they just give up a great potential finish over to another squad. It's a slight thing to adjust. If they do, I think we can finally see some big wins from Orangutan as we go through the replays here. And I want you all right now, Niptura, and everyone here, to pay attention to APG. They're like, oh, cross the bridge. Okay, we wait for phase 2. Oh, phase 2, we're chilling. Chopsticks area. This is great. Phase 2 pops are like, the compound is free. The same one. Yoink, it's ours. And same for Orangutan doing, as you said, Niptura, the same play as Alter Ego. So teams had just like big deja vu on that phase 2 shift. It was very funny.
Wolves as well, right, coming in and going, hey, that compound was free the entire game last time. Let's not make that same mistake again. We're taking it, baby. And they were able to get a top 2 finish out of it. So I doubt that mistake will be happening anytime soon.
Well, you know what? One thing I definitely want to talk about, and I remember you guys having a little bit of contention about that strategy, was Wolves, right? They were about to push up on that hill and possibly take OG on a little bit early, but then they decide not to. What do you think about that possible push, Max, man?
From which team? Sorry, you lagged out for me.
Wolves. Oh, sorry. Yeah, it was Wolves.
No
Remember when they were about to push up onto Everest on the OG, but then they kind of like just stopped and ended up going back? What do you think? You think that was a good idea? You think they should have pushed then, or you think it was good for them to hold off all that push?
I think it was good for them to hold off because sure, Everest would give them a lot of value if they're able to win that fight. But of course, every time you take an engagement, it's a bit of a risk. It's a bit of a 50-50 as to do you come out unscathed or not from that engagement. But I think actually here, Nitro, them staying in the compound to the west was the right call because you're still in circle. You're not forced to make a big decision just yet, so you just easily make it into the later stage. For me, passive approach was the best approach for the side of Wolves.
Yeah, I agree to a certain extent that holding that compound. Oh, hang on. Doc MVP, we haven't seen that in a good long while. So nice to see him back up here. But going back to our conversation real quick here is, yeah, I agree to a certain extent that yes, absolutely staying in the compound was the correct play. But I don't mind the split that they made, the 1-3 split up to Everest, because they were very mobile with it. They weren't over pushing. They were just trying to control that angle, make sure that the teams up on Everest didn't come on down. So I really did like that play from them. But we see the overall rankings, and that win onto APG pushes them, clears the gap by quite a bit, and puts them in first place. What a game from them. That was so important.
Dude, what a crazy start to the day. 48 points, guys. That is an average of 16 points a game for Alpha. Wow. I mean, yep, they slept during the gauntlet, but they're awake now in the group stage. They definitely don't want to be on that bottom 5. As a matter of fact, remember, those bottom 5 are out of here. It's good to see the Wolves after that game. They pushed themselves into 7th place. Remember, 4th through 11th, those are the teams going to that survival stage. We got a lot more action for you guys coming up. We'll take a quick break, and we'll be right back after that.
Converges. The race to be the one begins. The 2025 PUBG Mobile Global Championship will be held in Bangkok, Thailand from November 24th to December 14th. The ultimate stage where legends are forged and champions are crowned. Let's dive into this year's updated format. The journey starts with the Gauntlet, a high-stakes 3-day stage where momentum and pressure peak from day 1. The top 7 advance directly to the grand finals. Teams ranked 8 through 16 head to the group stage. Also new, Rondo replaces Sandhawk in the map rotation, starting each match day. After the Gauntlet, the PMGC continues with Group Green from November 28th to the 30th and Group Red from December 2nd to the 4th. 32 teams are split into 2 groups of 16. In the group stage, the mission is simple. Finish in the top 3 of your group to secure a spot in the grand finals. Place 4 through 11 and you get one last chance to stay in the fight. Land in the bottom 5 and you're eliminated. Once the groups are over, the final 2 grand final spots are determined in the last chance stage. 16 teams compete over 2 days on December 6th and 7th with no room for error. Only the top 2 keep their dream alive. After the PMGC League concludes, it's time for the final fight, the grand finals, the best of the best. 16 PUBG Mobile teams, including the host country, invite. Prove they are the one. The epic conclusion takes place from December 12th to the 14th. Who will rise on the road to glory, claim the crown, and take the lion's share of $3 million prize pool? Who will write their names in history? The journey to greatness begins here. Welcome to the 2025 PUBG Mobile Global Championship.
ingin meloloskan tim inilah ke grand final karena 2 kali PMGC kita nggak loloskan. The emotion driving me is like probably a bit of regret. We were so close, especially in the last games. We were top 1 and then we dropped down to top 3.
이제 저희가 작년 세계대회 우승했던 것만큼 압박도 있고
去年はなかなか世界大会優勝、PMG を優勝ということもあって、モチベーションがなかなか保てずにいて、PMGC に出場することすらできなかったんですけど。I would definitely say I'm coming back for redemption this time. I believe this is my moment to win PMGC this year. I have a really good team. We prepared really well. So if there's a chance to win it, I think this is it.
쉽다고는 생각 안 하는데 저희가 또 PMGC에 왔으니까 저희가 열심히 하고 또 실수하지 않으면은 우승할 수 있다고 생각해요.
Aku senang banget sih di saat ini kita bisa kembali lagi di PMGC yang dimana kita salah satu tim satu-satunya Indonesia yang bermain di sini. 私たちはこれまでにも世界の舞台で強烈なデビューを飾り、このチームがどれほどの実力を持っているかを証明しました。チームメイトを信じていますし、再びやり遂げられると本気で思っています。I would say I want people to remember that I always tried hard and no matter what the result, I showed up in a good way. Sekarang waktunya kita untuk membawa piala ke Indonesia lagi. 目標はシンプルです。グランドファイナルに進出し、世界タイトルを取ること。今回は PMGC トロフィーを持ち帰ります。
저희가 더 열심히 해서 꼭 우승하도록 하겠습니다.
Welcome back to the first day of Group Green at PMGC 2025 live from Bangkok, Thailand. I'm here joined by the MVP of PMGC 2024, Nobu from D Plus Kia. Nobu, you're the defending champions of PMGC. Does that give you extra pressure?
우리 선수는 2024년 PMGC 디챔핑 디챔핑으로서 PMGC 들어오는데 혹시 지금 부담감이 있어요?
딱히 부담감은 없는 것 같아요.
No, I didn't feel any pressure about that.
Okay, well, that's good to know because right now you're currently sitting in 10th place, 25 points away from the top 3. What has been the biggest challenge today?
지금 3등은 25점 차이가 있는데요. 혹시 지금 제일 힘든 점은 뭐예요?
딱히 힘든 점은 없고 저희가 준비한 대로 열심히 하면은 잘 될 것 같아요.
I didn't feel anything about. I didn't feel very difficult things about it. I just can do it as our preparing.
Okay, well, hopefully that's going to be the case. And I have to second something that Blank was saying. It feels like the lobby's being very aggressive, but you guys haven't been able to win your fights. Is there something that you need to be able to readjust to be able to win those fights?
지금 러비에서도 많이 잘하는 팀이 있는데 혹시 그 중에서 누구 제일 잘하는 거 생각하고 있나요?
APG?
I think our game is the most difficult thing, as I was saying.
I would have to agree with that because that team right now is playing like they were supposed to play in the gauntlet, but now they're here in Group Green and wanting to make sure they go to the grand finals. 감사합니다, Nobu. Back to you guys.
Hey, there we go. Good to be able to hear from Nobu there. D+, right? I mean, our previous champions, again, they're currently sitting in that 10th place position with 12 points, right? It's good to hear their mindset here, Max, man, as they go into the rest of the second half of the day here, right? What do you think about their performance so far? Obviously, it's not where they want to be. You know, why do you think this team's struggling off the rip?
It's a similar issue to Falcons where they're getting caught early in their rotations and they just lose players. If in this game in particular, right, Chips wasn't solo. He had maybe 3-4 4-man in that position, chances are they might be the one to actually claim that chicken dinner at the end of this game instead of APG. But yeah, those early transitions, they're really struggling to keep the entire squad alive. If they can fix that one glaring issue of the early stage, we know what D+K can do here. Hot Jukes, easily they could wrap up wins, but that one issue is currently causing them a lot of hassle in these matches.
Yeah, I mean, for sure. I mean, I think that's probably one of the best things for Alpha Gaming here, Nipter, right? Is the fact that they got to play in the gauntlet stage, right? They got those extra games to warm up. You know, they're finally playing the way they're supposed to. I mean, do you think the fact that they played those extra games gives them a little bit of advantage coming into this tournament so far?
I think in terms of mindset, absolutely, because we're seeing a very different APG to what we've been seeing for years so far. So I think it was so incredibly important for them to actually have to play the gauntlet, have to lose the gauntlet so badly, so they can actually do what they're doing today.
Hey, maybe Max, that's why that DKILLER man was sad, right? That they go straight to the grand finals, right? He was like, I want to go to group stage. Huh?
Bro, you're looking at this lobby. I want to look at DKILLER straight in the face right now, Hodge. You can say, you're looking at these games and you want to play these games. This is brutal. Who would want to play this stage, man? This is crazy intense and aggressive from all of these teams as we go through some of the replays of today's 3 matches. And I got to say, maybe this is a bit, bit much what I'm going to say, but these 3 games alone for me are like way more fun to watch than the entirety of the gauntlet. These 3 games were beautiful execution from every single player and team. This is what you expect from a PMGC lobby, Nepture, and right now all these teams are delivering great gameplay.
They really are. I think, and it is every single team. Every single team has something awesome to show us in every single game. I mean, if it's the mirror 1v4 from Falak, if it's these awesome long-range shots from Alter Ego, if it's the nades from APG, like everybody's got something to show, and they're doing it in style. These games have been just so much fun.
I would think we have to replace these desks every 2 games.
I know.
They're taking a beating, bro. Come on, let him alone.
The difference is crazy, right? I mean, you got the gauntlet where it's like, hey, you know what? You don't win, you go to the group stage. Here, it's like, you don't win, you go home. And then all of a sudden, right? They're not messing around at all here. I mean, they want that big share of that money coming up here. So we can take a look at the top 4 gunslingers. And of course, look at that. 3 players from Alpha Gaming up on top here. Max.
And you got Koops just like, hey, don't forget about me. I mean, they had a great game, of course, to go himself to 2nd place, so Koops popping off, but Zyol, Doc, top here. I mean, what was really cool is that Zyol, his nades have been kind of matching the energy of Doc's grenades. They've been so pinpoint accurate with that utility. Top, especially his grenades on that Rondo game, were really standing out. APG, for me, of course, the rotates are good, everything, but like their utility game, Niptura, in particular, really is the standout kind of aspect of the game that is massive so far for APG.
No, it really is. And what I love is that when Top joined this roster, immediately his nades got a lot better because he was learning from Doc. Now we have Zyol as well coming in, and his nades in PMGC so far have been really, really good. So I love the energy that Doc is kind of just influencing the rest of his team to really up their utility game, and it's creating this powerhouse of a team that if they play well and if they get to the end game, they are unstoppable. So it's a really, really nice sort of shift to see team by or player by player, the individuals step up in that area is really cool.
Can you imagine if Doc is like looking at his teammate's phone on the side and be like, just a little bit more to the right, a bit higher? Yep. There you go. He's just coaching them on the nades.
He's got that heat-seeking missile, right? He knows exactly where to throw him right there. And that's what's so good, though, right? When you have a player who's really good at using a particular utility or strategy in the game, right? Him to be able to like really coach his squad, give him a little bit of advice. Everyone's gonna level up, right? I mean, the proof is in the pudding. When you see Doc nail those nades, you know that whatever he says goes for sure. Now, you know, when it comes to Doc choosing off angles, maybe think twice. You know what I'm saying? Maybe you're like kind of like, oh, I don't know about that advice. But you know what? They end up winning that game there, and they land back in military, right? We saw them land a little bit different in the first Airgale. Max, what are your thoughts, right, on the fact that they win from coming from military? Do you think that can get in their head at all?
I don't think so, no. It's just that it's their primary drop location, so they can really use that position to its full potential because they dropped there for like years at this point. So they're very, very experienced when it comes to that drop location. So I'm just happy they have the secondary option of going to Kameshki, which actually this game, Nipcho, we were looking at the map feed. Inner Circle dropped in Kameshki, so they are
Yes, they
also
did.
trying to use it as a secondary drop location if they have a really bad plane. So the adaptability of these teams is just second to none, and so far it's been successful for not just APG, but also Inner Circle. But Alex, whoa, those stats.
Yeah.
3.7 is crazy. Well, it's only 3 games played, but still insanely good stats for this player.
Yeah, and the fact that he's got 43% team contribution, like we know the rest of the team is not slacking at all, but that's just his influence on the team that he's being able to contribute so much. I do want to go back to APG very quickly because they did go back to military. I have a hypothesis.
Ooh,
Jukes,
okay.
That not drop military because they were worried that GS would hot drop them again for the first game. And not have a rough start on a wrangle. They needed to be able to come off the back of the really good wrangle as well. So I think them going back to military was always part of the plan.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, that's a good theory. You know, I like the fact that they did it in the first place, right? Because it just mixes things up, right? When you have a squad that just goes in the same place constantly, they're just so they just change their drop location at all. Max pays off here big time.
Yeah, I mean, I think that first wrangle was mainly because of the plane that was very northern. Was the reasoning behind it, but you know what? That's an extra little bonus for having changed that drop location, Imptero. So I would have to echo your point, but was it the main core reason as to why that happened in the first place? I'm not 100% certain just yet.
Yeah, well, you know what, man? We're coming right up. The last Aaron Gale of the day. Max, real quick, percentage chance we're going to see another guy.
99% chance. And if it doesn't happen, we fell on that 1%. Okay, so it's looking pretty good.
All right. I like those odds right now, but let's get ready for match number 4 and take it on over to our casters.
And in we go. The third and final Erangel of today, match number 4 for Group. And we are going over the military base island up towards Kameshki. We'll see where our teams opt. Drops on Erangel so far. Teams are playing sensibly. We'll see if this more eastern-sided plane path is going to favor us. And are we going back to Gatka? That's the question on my mind.
It would be amusing to go back to Gatka. I'd be okay with it. But, you know, you get the 3-time reset. Figure out what you want to do. I think at this point, though, there'll be like probably 3 teams trying to go for that compound of Everest of a very different story. APG dropped down towards Sosnovka. No reason not to here, especially with the fact that the plane path is so south starting on this one. But yeah, very much off towards the east side. So a little bit more difficult. I think most players and teams would hope for an eastern shift on the circle here. Wouldn't make their lives much easier in the long run. For OG, it's a bit of a long drop over towards Rozhok.
Yes, a bit of a way to get that one. We'll see if they're able to make it. Probably drop in short, grab some vehicles, head on out. You can see they're over, towards the west side of the Yaz fields. Grab a vehicle or 2. They should be okay. And we're definitely not going to the Gatka fields, Blank. We're going over to the east side this time around.
Yeah, you can already see here a little bit of argy-bargy going on in terms of teams all rotating on top of one another because the spots are limited. Hello. Pistol out. See if we can get done. The monster truck is coming, though. One more shot. It's all it take, and he does find it. Very nice.
It's got quite a lot of ammo in that pistol. It's looking good on the iron sights. Oh, dear. It came up against a rifle. That is... That's really annoying. That's really annoying for the Falcons. Oh,
Yeah.
He definitely overstayed on that.
Yeah, a bit overzealous is the way to... You just get in the vehicle, run him down, and then leave, right? You don't need to flush him with the pistol. I think for Narvalo, it's an unfortunate one, especially with Narvalo being one of the best players on that squad in terms of gun skill. And I think that they desperately do need that. Koa in the past was so incredibly strong, really made a name for himself, but I think has been slightly less explosive in terms of performance recently. I'm still waiting for him to break back onto the scene.
Yes, hopefully a resurgence in his future, but it's easier said than done. Let's take a look at some of the data. For APG, they definitely have stepped back up, right? The desk were talking about it. We've been talking about it as well. A revitalized Mongolian front coming through. They're now top of the tables, kind of where we expected them to be. Better late than never. GS, Gen G managed to take 2 players down from the Goats. That leaves them on 1 player standing now for Goat. And they are not going to be happy about that. That is a pretty appalling situation to find yourself in, not even into minute 4.
Yeah, a fairly aggressive start, honestly, all things considered for an international format. Already 4 players down, only 3 minutes into the match is quite ridiculous, but Goat's definitely mostly on the receiving end of this. Only Varanik left remaining for the squad. Gonna have to go for some survival maneuvers into the late game here. For 9Z, I think they're very happy with their Yaz drop here. This is a great position to get started, especially if it moves over towards the fields. You've got a lot of vision here. You can play on the south side of Gaka. Here's those shots from Dami. Oh, insane spray transfer as well.
Yeah.
Assisted by Quick with the SKS.
Very, very nice stuff. Earned points, definitely, for Gen G. Unfortunate for Goat that they were the ones that those points were extracted from. And they will have to just try and trot on with just the 1 player now. Still, more matches to play, more games to be had. Tiamba, very, very quiet so far. You said in that last match, it wasn't looking good for them. We'll see if they can change the tune from Milta now. Maybe it's just that they don't favor those Gatka rotates, right? Maybe it's just that they really don't like heading over to that part of the map. Maybe they'll find something better on this east side.
I think the team that I'm most frustrated with at the moment is probably Papara Supermassive, getting practically 0 points since Rondo at the start of the day, which just confused me. I genuinely do think this is a good team, but so far it's been really lackluster. And they're a strong team when it comes to sweeping, but I think they keep getting themselves into some bad scenarios. Now, I'd hope that things would get better tomorrow for them, but it's a lot of homework that needs to be done between now and then. But I think that that's almost not inexcusable, but the fact that we saw 2 games back to back where it was pretty much the same circle, there were some very clear teams who had learned their lesson from the previous game. I mean, Wolves immediately took it upon themselves to pick up the only compound that was free the entire time that no one went to. I think that was a great decision to make, and it got them far into the game. But again, it shows that on-the-fly changes can be made during the day, and we just haven't seen that from Papara Supermassive, which I think is required a level of gameplay like this. So yeah, we'll see. Not that Turkey needs more contestants into the grand finals, that is.
Oh dear, yeah. I mean, they've already been able to snaffle away 2 of those spots, right? Doing pretty well. Looking good for representation on that global stage, and that, well, you can't say much fairer than that, I think. It's been interesting to see what they've been able to do. Both Kara and Ulf already taking strides out towards those finals from the gauntlet stage. Maybe we'll see another team join them. I mean, you'd hope, I mean, this is going a little bit into the future now, but you'd hope that Regnum Kaya also are going to be able to find one of those spots and really make that global lobby complete, really, with Silas's presence.
I'm definitely unsure about it, though, at this point in time. I'm definitely unsure about Regnum Kaya. I think in the past, it would be the case coming into this international. I was like, oh, Regnum Kaya is definitely going to be going through to the grand finals. I was fairly confident in that. Not so much anymore. I actually have my doubts. Which is sad as well, because I really do like Regnum Kara as a team. I think Zedwolf's a great addition. And when I saw him get added to the team, sort of for me, it was a case of, that's insane. Like, that's just become a god roster. But it's not the case.
No, it wasn't quite. I mean, they did very well, obviously, in the region. And obviously, with Zedwolf just coming into the roster, it was a little bit rocky, a little bit of a difficult road that they trod in order to get to the victory, right? The entirety of the PMSL that they qualified through. But here, it seems like that process has sort of had to happen again, and hopefully it's happened in short order. APG, they were able to turn it around massively, right, from the group stages, and maybe the similar sort of thing could happen here.
We don't. Let's not talk about APG.
Well, they did pretty badly in the gauntlet.
That's better. That's better. Okay. I think we just get the can't talk about that.
Don't want to. Yeah, APG's so bad right now. Like, just
it's so
I don't
bad.
even know what they're doing. It's just awful.
Yeah, it's just really not good. The same. It's the only way. It's the only way to get them to do well. All right, you're lay into them, and they can take it.
Ooh,
try respect.
Circle's laying into the lobby right now, heading all the way out to the east side. Lepovka Circle, very rare. We'll see who's going to be able to crunch in over that mansion area. A lot of buildings is surrounded by open ground in this zone. And then up to Lepovka, that hill that sits to the west of it. Could potentially be a little bit of respite. Wolves, they're kind of at the back of the queue right now, embroiled with OG and absolutely no one else who we definitely won't talk about.
Absolutely. And those who shall not be named are currently in front of the Wolves. So very similar rivalry to previous Erangel there. But to be honest, like I think APG does look like a very different beast this time around. And I'm very pleased by it. And again, I think Doc's taken it upon himself. Oof, it's rough. Doc has definitely taken it upon himself to be more of the front man for the squad, but still playing in tune with the rest of the band here, which is really cool. It's been a long time coming. It's been a long time coming, and they're succeeding because of it.
Yeah, it's necessary. It's necessary for them to be able to do that. Over to Lepovka. Okay. A big scout out coming through from AKOP. This is a big split from the rest of the roster right now. And they've already lost, I say the rest of the roster. There is only one other player, WizGod, as OG did get torn apart a little bit. They tried to crash over the hill into Lepovka. The Falcons now join them. Obviously, we know they lost a player earlier on. But the teams have managed to consolidate themselves to the east side. It has been a bit of a mad dash. Except for Goat. I think they're still on a bit of a wide rotate blank.
Well, he's on a wide rotate. Yeah. For Alter Ego, they have one of the most insane positions on the map right now. I really love this little patch of high ground that they play. In the past, it's brought a lot of separate teams big victories, and I think that the team that starts in Lepovka, you could see how much this position is favored because the circle is centered on Lepovka. You don't want to play there. That's like the survival area of the map. It is also a case where this is a worrying amount of water in the circle right now. It's almost 50%.
Yeah, it's it is maybe time for the armbands for one or two players, you'd imagine. Ooh, a bit of trouble on the north side for Inner Circle as they're trying to move in on the north, but they're fairly isolated. They should be okay. You can see the next circle will be popping soon. As 9Z yet to fully transition away from Yasnaya. They will have to, though. And we're going all the way up north, another hard shift, and another circle with a lot of water. Nobody's in the middle of this one, Blank. Don't worry.
Oh, who's that? This just seems like there's an invisible squad in the middle.
There's just no team there.
Actually, decent. It's a small ditch that they're playing in. It's not like incredibly insane. I will say that APG today has been like somewhat lucky on some of the circles that come towards them, but it hasn't been like all the circles are going APG's way. But they have had a few of them. But the thing is that they are translating every single time on those circles, where they're currently at 48 points. Now, if they're able to get another big game here, like, goodness me, you're like stamping a ticket almost at this point in time with 48 points. Duke's highlighted it perfectly. It's a 16-point average, which is unheard of.
It is pretty crazy, but it is a small sample size. And we've seen back-to-back chicken dinners and things like that happen before. And it is always in these 3-day sets about transitioning to the next days. They've had a great success in today's games, but we've seen bigger. than 48. And granted, they still do have half the day to play, but it's not something you can rely on. It's not enough just yet. Nades exchange now on the cliffs between Falcons playing as 3 and OG playing as 2. Falcons with Ralph all the way as a backstop. That's a big nade. Blast the card of the sky and AKOP with it. WizGod now the last player to stand. And that's flushed up. That's stolen away that point. That's nasty. As he's going to send on over. Oh, and another shot down over towards OG. They go down 16th place. No elims.
Yeah, nice with APG. Picked up both of them. Falcon's pretty frustrated about that. Had to expend a load of utilities to make that one happen. And yet get both elims stolen. So up to 50 points now. I think the record was like 83, 82 from Kara on day 2 of Gauntlet.
It might have been that. I was thinking about Thunder Talk in day 1 as well, which could have been a potential.
I think Kara's is higher, but yeah.
Yeah, I think you're right.
But still, APG's on track right now to beat that. Now,
well, if they can keep up 16 points a game, sure.
The funny thing is, if they continue on this trajectory, they actually hit 100 points in one day. Like, unironically as well.
That would be insane. 16 points a match times 6? Really? I don't think that's. I mean, that's just shy.
They're on 50 points right now.
Oh yeah, okay, fine. Yeah, that's true. But some of the points have come from this game. 2 of them. So technically, they are just shy in terms of the average points per game.
We'll see what more they can do here. Okay, this is circle look.
They're in the middle of the circle.
Yeah.
Ooh, okay, that's a big circle look.
I guess it's not too bad. Yeah, I guess it's not too much circle look because you are in the center anyway. So this is technically the circle you're hoping for. So this is a weird one where it's like, did they just play this correctly, or I would say it's just played it correctly, because I think circle look would be if they shifted over towards Icy's compound on the northwest side. For this, it's just like, well, they have played the circle here.
Loops trying to send on in. Maybe they're playing the circle here as well as they head on up to the APG camp. Ratto Boy first to go down on the fight. Reefus able to flee around the side, fling himself a little bit further. Top chasing down those knocks, chasing down maybe an Elim point more. As they spot Loops descending the hill. Rafinha on foot over his Yol, not a chance. Reefus on guard. Then he steps up well. And APG, they claim their hilltop. They solidify it a bit further. Nobody's going to dare to step up there anytime soon, you'd imagine.
Yeah, it's a really, really strong spot, but you do need to be competent to play that position. Because as we saw there, when teams come to fight you, it is just bare knuckle fighting, essentially, where there's not too much cover. You're just straight in there. In the meantime, Alter Ego coming up against Tiamba, and that's more like the Bond I know.
He's looking for more, looking for those flashes, looking for those reses, looking to try and rely on his teammate as well as, unfortunately, they have lost one. There is 2 or 3 other teams around here who will hear this all unfold, and Gen G are going to strike out first with the nades. Reject, are they going to try and get involved, or are they going to try and get ahead of this one, try and cut around the outside? But the first nade lands. Tiamba doing a lot of damage, getting those flushes as Alter Ego are eliminated, but now Tiamba need to try and stay alive. They're only as 3. They don't have full force, but they are getting healed up slowly. They can move forwards now, but they do need to find an opening. Reiji, there he goes. Reject did not want to get ahead. They wanted to add a point to their tally, and it looks like they're going to get stuck in here with Reiji crashing in.
It's not going well for Reject. But QZZ being down, Bond needs to hit a good Molotov down the stairs here. We'll try and bounce it off the side. Doesn't get too much burnt out of the way. So they do have a spy in the mix for Tiamba. They will need to get rid of Reiji, but the nade into Sarah knock. Synchronized destruction over towards Tiamba. Apollo's already left the game. He's had enough of it.
I'm done, guys. See you later. We only got 4 points so far. Oh, wait, hang on a minute. Now we got 7. Maybe I should have stayed. Oh, well. They are going to play it on as 2. Looks like Sarah got the most of those, actually. I think, was it his nade that got sent in through the window? That's crazy. And it was nothing to do with Reiji as they send on out to the west side. D+, not really going to have an angle here. They're going to move into the foothills underneath APG.
Okay, Wolves. I mean, this is the second time now where Wolves has got far into the game, currently at 4 players. And the scorecard doesn't look crazy for them in terms of points, but I think initial rotates from Wolves are good. Again, I think it's just that closing of the game that they seem to struggle with the most right now. Especially the figuring out of like what is the next maneuver, what split do we need to take towards the end game. That's where they're really going to have to readjust a lot of their game plans going in towards the future. And I think that is like the day 2 mentality they need to have, is like, right, well, early to mid game is fine. What we need to solve is late game.
That is really where the majority of points are earned as well, right? It's all well and good getting up to 20 minutes each match, but not getting too much further than that. That's a real massive swathe of points that you're losing out on. D+ trying to slice through the Gen G hold, but Fabian goes down first. Dammy holding on the inside. Finally, they get that knock for D+, but it's maybe too little too late because Nolbu's down as well. You've got the last player from GOAT who's overlooking this potentially to wait to see who filters on out. Actually, Gen G are down to 2. D+ down to 2 as well. Oaksal doing a lot of work here, it has to be said, for D+, and Falcons chime into the fight for good measure.
Yeah, help out D+ here. I mean, for Osal there, I was just kind of wondering where he was. Good shot from Papa Supermassive. Good shot onto Papa Supermassive, sorry, from APG. Wolves will finish off at least one player from Reject there. They do take a knock in the process. Kuz is going to pick him back up again. Baton with the swing out for the scout. And this is, again, this is what I'd like to see from the Wolves right now. You know, they are now thinking about what's the next step. What do we need to do now to secure the next position? The Baton immediately going for that scout there. That's giving them a little bit of information that there is a team looking to rotate ahead of them.
Information game. Very important in these circles now. Lots to, I mean, first of all, get all this information, but take these shots as well. That little rock is a very large cliff. They sat atop right now, gives them great oversight, but it does expose them. And that's exactly what Reefus finds over from APG. It does help Falcons down to the west and a little bit to the south. But APG do still have oversight. In the meantime, a little bit of a scrap between Inner Circle, Loops as well joining, as well as 9Z.
I mean, GS might even try and get in on this. This is a lot of different teams all in one building. IQ will go down, but T24 wreaking havoc on the bottom floor at the moment. There's Coligo left remaining, but we know how much of a terror Coligo can be from upstairs, looking to stamp his feet.
Also got a Falak go down in the other building there to Vatine on the hop-in. The heal went through, and that's T24 down. So Inner Circle fully flushed. GS not getting involved in this fight at all. They are now mounting up into a vehicle, but they can't make a decision. Well, they certainly haven't yet, as the nade lands underneath Coligo, and it's actually Loops to be able to be the team to survive out the other end of it. But nobody's done very well off of that blank, off that fight. No one really got too many points, and they've all gone down before the placements even kick in.
You know, despite Falcons having a pretty bad start to this game and losing one player, I think they've done a great job playing on this cliffside. They haven't been too influential on the map in terms of those, but they've consistently put up some points here and there looking for an end game finish. Circle moves back up towards the north side, which really encompasses this high ground once again. At some point, APG needs to start worrying about the eastern side, but they're actually quite lucky that the circle, that was close. They're actually quite lucky that the circle encompasses a small amount of teams. They can look at that and be like, well, it's likely that team is just going to sit in there. Fully focus over towards the western side now, knowing that the hilltop is going to break all the sight lines from the eastern side. So super fortunate and tiny little things, which is adjusting how APG is playing this circle.
And APG on the hilltop really are the team to beat here, not just on the tables but in this game. And look at, there's no team beneath them that is alive anymore, not within arm's reach of them, as Luke finally bite the dust there. Their last player falls down. GS maybe not long for it either, so they've only got the one elim to show for their match at this stage. I mean, for APG, Who takes them down here? I mean, it's Team Secret. But even then, like, their run out is going to be completely overlooked by that push. I mean, Wolves probably actually is the most likely in this scenario to be able to take them.
I mean, if you are Team Secret, like, to be honest, you should be pushing west here or trying to sweep on one of these sides, because this is the big reason why APG is having free reign on the west, is because Team Secret's not going to leave that compound. That would be the like sneaky maneuver that Team Secret could make here, which is to completely abandon that compound, which is like circle anyway, and go for a quick spin. But again, I think Team Secret is worried. They've been playing worried all day, and I think that APG is the one team right now who is playing with that vast amount of confidence and bravado in these games.
Nolbu finally down, tried to play the smoke, tried to play up towards that late game that we saw from them. Getting a 3rd place on the foothills of Everest. Denied this time, down in 7th place. APG going for a rollout towards GS. Team Secret still yet to move. GS, I mean, there's really not a lot you could do. When that many players for APG roll up on you, goodness me, that's going to be a tough start. Wolves and Papa Supermassive, though, not taking the opportunity, with APG diverting a lot of their power up. Hang on a minute. That's a lot of damage done. Maybe they are finding the opportunity. Maybe they are looking for that opening.
I mean, they should be able to get this res here, honestly, I believe. But it's also understandable why they go for that rotate. Good knock from Doc there. Again, the 2nd time today that he's gone for a rundown onto Baton as well, by the way. And it feels like they're just soloing the Wolves at the moment. Now looking for a little bit more at the back of it. Papa Supermassive goes down. But yeah, you can absolutely understand why APG sends the 2 over towards that north side for the exact reason of TS going for this rotate over towards the north, which they are trying for now. Immediately, Doc continues to rotate around, with the circle going down towards that south side. I think at the moment, what APG needs to do is control the north and then play down towards the south.
I mean, you don't want to allow the Falcons too much, right? They are a duo, but they can still have an impact from the south side of this ridge approach. Maybe a
absolutely,
little bit
but that's going to be your final fight, right? That'll be your final fight. So right now they have the most control on the north side. So we lock that down. Then we rotate around Team Secret, which again, for Team Secret not flexing from this position earlier, they've almost given themselves a death sentence by doing that. So I'm a little bit confused. Judkey, the only one really with a forward-thinking plan here, trying to scout something slightly over towards these hilltops.
You did need to wrap around a little bit earlier, but now